After 20 years of international travel in 30 countries later, including 7 continents twice, these are the 3 places, or in this case, countries. Well, not quite countries, but these are the 3 places that I can't stop thinking about all these years later. The first one would be Cuba. Cuba was somewhere that I had always wanted to go and never thought I would get the opportunity to. I carry a US passport, which means I have quite a few restrictions for being able to go to Cuba. Those have changed frequently, especially in recent years. But I was fortunate enough in 2017 to be able to finally make it to Cuba, and I was able to spend a week there. And it was so much unexpected. I was very nervous going into it, but I very much cannot wait for the opportunity to go back to Cuba again. And despite all the apprehension, there really wasn't anything for me to worry about. It was a place that was so surprising to visit. It was unlike anywhere that I had been before. The people were so kind and so welcoming, even though they had so little by comparison to someone like me who lives in the United States. They were the most generous I've probably ever met. It was such an eye-opening experience to have such hospitality from people who were struggling on a daily basis, but they were still so proud to show you their country and their culture, and they wanted to teach you about what their daily life is like, what they do and do not receive from the government, their daily struggles, and what equality in their under their country's rule really looks like. It was an absolutely incredible experience. I had the fortune of having a guide who has studied English for 8 years, so the language barrier was not a barrier, and I really felt because of that, I was able to learn and experience so much more that I might not have otherwise. And he took us to different places in Havana, showed us what the markets are like to pick up your what they basically what the people are given each month from the government to live off of versus what they consider like their quote unquote like their Walmart, which was a really interesting experience because it was basically like a back room behind a counter, and it felt almost like it wasn't supposed to be a thing, but it was, and it was the most modern equivalent to what we experience here with wine aisles and the fluorescent lighting, which sounds silly, but it was amazing. And for him to say that that's what they want, but it's not what they have. We'll learn so many other things. Like everyone talks about, oh, all the cars there are old cars, and that's not actually the case. There are modern vehicles. Most of them come from Asian manufacturers, but there are pickup trucks, Ford pickup trucks actually, and those come through Canada for oil. So that was it was a very eye-opening experience, completely opposite for what I had grown up with and what I had been taught. I think it was also the first realization that not everyone is under the same restrictions I am to visit this country. Many people come and actually get to vacation there and walk around freely without their government having certain restrictions on them. So it was a really cool, eye-opening experience. The landscape was absolutely stunning. Seeing the Vanellis Valley was just magical. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Highly, highly recommend. And I walked away from Cuba wishing that I had spent more time there than I did. So I look forward to the day that I get to go back and experience more of the country. The second place that I cannot stop thinking about years later, so much so that I went back. It's not a country, it's Antarctica. I could talk about Antarctica for days. It's just an absolutely magical location. I really don't have the words to describe it. It's a feeling, it's an experience, and it's something that you have to experience in person to fully grasp the magnitude of the landscape and just the peace and the serenity of that corner of the planet. Um, it's a place I know that really had an effect on me. I I don't know what I expected going into it. It was something that I had always wanted to do, and it was more than just crossing up, in my case, my 6th continent to get to 7 continents. It was somewhere that I really wanted to go and to see and experience while it was still the white continent, because of all the global warming changes that we are experiencing, and also a place that I wanted to see before it was overrun with people. It's an environment where people don't belong, and we are fortunate enough to be able to go down and experience it for short periods of time on expedition ships. Of course, there are scientists and other people that do spend more time there on continents on a research basis, but for the most part, most of us that go down there only get a handful of days in that environment, and being able to experience it not once but twice, well, with 2 successful expeditions was uh, just really something that I'm eternally grateful for. It's a place that it just takes your breath away. It's amazing. The wildlife down there is incredible. The peace that you experience from being disconnected from the world and so separate. My second expedition, we at one point were the farthest ship south. We were below the Antarctic Circle, and you get that feeling that you are alone and you have to be you're self-sufficient. You're relying on your ship as your lifeline, your crew, your expedition team, and the passengers, and it's really just a incredible experience that I hope everybody gets the opportunity to experience. I know that's not possible, but it's something that I wish everyone could. And on the flip side of that, do so responsibly. It is a place that is such a fragile ecosystem. I highly encourage people to read more about what goes on down in Antarctic waters. There's a lot of krill fishing and overfishing these days, and it's it really you take one piece out of that web and things start to fall apart. So if Antarctica is on your list and it's something you want to do, I would never not encourage you to go. Just do so responsibly. Don't go on a big cruise ship. Go on a smaller expedition ship. Go with a travel company that has scientists on board, so that you get that experience firsthand. You're able to participate in citizen science, which is a huge contribution to the scientific world. So just things to consider if you do decide to go. Again, highly recommended if you have the means and you're able to do so. I certainly see myself going down there again, but to be determined on when that will be. I got quite a few other things going on at the moment, but Antarctica is a place that I continue to think about probably on a daily basis, and it's a place that I hold near and dear to my heart. I will never ever forget my time there. And third place is that I still think about all the time. It's kind of like a first love. I still think about my first overseas trip to Australia in 2005. So I was a little over 20 years ago now, 20 and a half years ago now, which is absolutely wild. Actually, today is, yeah, it's almost to a day exactly. It's 20 and a half years ago. And it really is, it's kind of like a first love scenario. You is something that you never forget, and it was such an impact on me. It really shifted my life. I had always loved travel. I always loved being on the road, but it was the moment I think I realized that this was something that was going to be a part of my life for my entire life. That obviously hasn't changed. It's kind of gone up and down. Sometimes it takes a backseat, sometimes it doesn't. But that's just life. Things ebb and flow. I went and, went to university and built a career and did all those things. But travel has always been there, and it was because of Australia. I've just never forgotten the feeling of being there. It was a place that was people were so welcoming and just fun and happy and carefree. There was a joy, just an energy of being there. And then I finally got to go back last year on the 20th anniversary to the day, uh, which was just amazing. I didn't, I will say I didn't plan that. I planned it, but it wasn't something that I like tried to do. It just, the opportunity was there and I took it. All that to be said, it was a wonderful experience to have experienced Australia as a teenager and then to come back as an adult and to feel the same way about it. People are still just so welcoming and carefree and just the joy that is there. It's something that I've never forgotten. And I've carried that with me for so long, and I think I will always will. So yeah, Australia and kind of my first love, and it not kind of it is. It's like a first love. Travel it really has opened so many doors and shifted my life, and uh, I know it's kind of fun because that can be a hard one for people. Just side note, it can be a hard one for people chasing 7 continents to get to Australia, and for me, that was my second. The first time I did all 7, it was my second. So it was just kind of always like this funny thing to me that it was my second continent, and also really what kicked all this off. No, not Antarctica. Brain is starting to go. Australia, also holds a place that's near and dear to my heart. So, all 3 of them do: Cuba, Antarctica, and Australia. So, all that to be said, the 3 places I still think about many, many years later after the fact, and it probably always will. On that bombshell, catch you on the next one. As always, feel free to join my little corner of the internet, stick around, hang out, and let's just see where this journey goes. Bye.